welcome to everybody today, all of our members and friends and guests and everybody else, all of you, huge crowd. And welcome to all of you on Zoom also. So, I have a lot of announcements today. First of all, the big one is that, of course, well, I think most of us know, Reverend Maggie is on vacation. And she will be on vacation through the 19th. So if you need any pastoral care, you are so lucky to have Reverend Ellen available, or myself, who was a lay minister and still is under Reverend Ellen, right? I was trained under Reverend Ellen. So I count, sort of, so you may also call on me. Whoever you get first, but hopefully nobody needs everybody and everybody has a peaceful, joyful, unrocky week, and we wish her the best of times with her family. We do have coming up a congregational leadership retreat that is next weekend from 9 to 3, and there's more details for those who are going to be involved with it coming out soon. And right after that is going to be the packing party for our Calipayan Partner Church. We send huge boxes to them, and we have to send them now because they go slowly by boat and get there hopefully in time for the holidays. So this will be taking place from 3 to 4:30. And if you haven't brought your donations for it yet, they're taking donations of gently used or new clothing and shoes, then backpacks, jackets, school supplies, books, children's books, and then they really appreciate canned protein, like canned fish is what I always get, first aid supplies. And Julie Steinbach sent an email saying she's taken a bunch of her old computers and sort of cleaned them, and she is sending those and encourages anybody else who would like to send in their old computers to do so, but have them wiped clean first. Not ancient computers, but ones that could be functional for people in the Philippines, and bring those. Better than going to the e-waste. Of course, we have our partner church in the Philippines, and this says there's 9 families with 31 children. Okay, and a bunch of preschoolers, but also up to college age. So you can bring your donations this coming week from 9 on Monday, Thursday, or Friday. That's when our office administrator Brenda is here from 9 to 1:30. And of course, if you want, yeah, that's it. You could maybe come and bring them right when we're going to pack the box too. But we're certainly welcoming more donations and help packing the box. Also, Social Justice Committee has been sponsoring letter writing for Get the Vote Out, and that will be, as it has been the last few weeks, after church. And I think Meg is in charge of it this Sunday, is that true? But you will find it, and I don't know if we'll be outside or inside. I probably in the back. So please take a few moments after the service as you get your coffee to come over and write a few letters to people to encourage them to vote. It's pretty important. Okay. Then also we have a scholarship fund for De Benneville Pines to send kids to camp, and right now it is empty. And we sell a cookbook. We have a cookbook. If you haven't gotten our cookbook yet, it's on the RE table in the back, and it costs $10 donation to the scholarship fund. And if you already have a cookbook or you don't wish to have one, donations are very welcome. This is an important and well-used fund. So we're also on October 30th, here after service, we're having the spooky coffee hour. And its costumes are encouraged, but not too scary. I added that. Okay, Robert, not too scary. So there's going to be games and prizes and food and trick or treat. snacky foods. And it should be a lot of fun. So also to remind you of weekly things on Saturday mornings, there's an 8 o'clock drumming circle, followed by a 9 a.m. chair yoga group and a hatha yoga at 10 a.m. And you can, if you want more information, you can contact John Schmaltzstig. We also have a group called Gathering Around Grief, and it will be meeting on October 26th at 7 p.m. And it meets right in here by the fireplace. And they, Reverend Maggie and Reverend Dr. Kathleen Reeves facilitate that. And you may RSVP, it's helpful to them, but it's not necessary. And just a little plug, choir rehearsal is on Thursday nights at 7, and if you feel moved, please just come and join them. They will welcome you, right?
Yes, with glad cries.
Okay, so that is what I have. I hope I didn't forget anything. And now we will sound our bowl. This is how we start our service. We sound the bowl 3 times. We sound it once for those who came before, the Tongva people and other native people who were the original stewards of this land long ago. And we also honor our ancestors who were the founding members of this congregation and who imagined and formed it over 70 years ago. We sound it once for those of us who are here now, for our members, our friends, our visitors, our staff, and all our beloved family. Ooh. That's for now. And we sound it once for those who will come to find belonging here, who will come into our lives and make a difference in our experience. And our opening words, frequently used and one of our favorites and very appropriate for today. Look to this day, by Kalidasa, or at least attributed to him. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is already a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision, but today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. And our opening song, and if you're in the sanctuary, you may rise if you're so inclined, is Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee. It's number 29, and we'll see how this is. I can't wait to see how it looks. Whoa. Wow. Can you all read that? Oh, Lordy. Wow. Okay. So it's pretty big, it's pretty big.
I think Beethoven.
He made it even more grand. Okay. So our chalice lighting words today, and I have Reverend Ellen lighting our chalices, because we light one for our Calapayan partnership also. May the light of this chalice give light and warmth to our community when we are joyful and when we despair. And may we feel the warmth spread from our circle to the wider and wider circles until all know they belong to the one circle of life. And let us speak our covenant together and then sing Spirit of Life, first in English and then in Spanish. Here it is. Love is the doctrine of this congregation.
The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve the world fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus have we covenant with each other.
And right now, right following this, because we do not have a story for all ages today, we have a child that I think, do we have a child?
We have
Playing outside. Well, okay. So maybe, would you like to come get our chalice and we'll sing to you? Here comes Robert, our DLRE, and we'll sing him out and we'll sing Donovan out. But he doesn't know it, but he will go. Joyful Gloria. Who's that little, is that your chair, Gloria? So now it's time for our Sunday offering. Time when we, by the way, our last 2 weeks, we gave our offering to the Relief Fund, the Florida Relief Fund, and we took in over $300 each Sunday. Yay, and I don't know what came online. So, yay. So with that same generosity, we support our own congregation. So this is the time to share your love for this congregation. It's sort of a hard time, it's all the stations are doing their fundraising now. I don't know if you listen to all the ones I listen to are fundraising. So we fundraise all the time. But I'll spare you. Yeah. Just think of how often your life is impacted by MVUUC each week and how much it offers. This sounds like NPR to me. And, okay, so anyway, this is our time for giving to our congregation and bringing forward donations to our food pantry, our Beta Center. And while we are so blessed to listen to Lily. So uplifting. Thank you so much. Wow. I'm like blown away by that. It's so amazing what humans can do in both directions. And it's so wonderful. It's the moments like that that make our life joyous.
She wrote that.
Did you really? That's one of your pieces. Ah, yes. Lily, you are such a wonderful music. It was a gift to humanity. and even the plants and the animals and everybody. So I'm sure they were listening. Thank you. And that could be considered sharing a joy, moving into that. But this is our time when we share deep personal joys and concerns with one another. And I'm not sure how the Zoom one is going to work. They're usually on chat, and here is one. Here's doing this. Okay. With this is, I don't think everybody can read this. It's sort of small, but it says, "It is with great on October 4th. He so enjoyed the friendships he made at MVUUC, which brought such pleasure." And I think, are there any more joyous? And I have here, I have continued prayers and thoughts for our beloved who is, her body is beginning to fail. And should I say something about, we have a friend of our congregation who's been, had cancer and has cancer, and it's getting him. He's having a hard time. So prayers and thoughts for too. And on the happy note, we wish a happy birthday to Pat Payne, who's Paula's mom, and she is right there, happy 88. And we could say, you want to sing happy birthday? And, and many more. And I hope, I know there's probably some things that haven't been expressed. Oh, I have a joy I wanted to express. I did want to, I thought about this. A few weeks ago, I had the joy of finally meeting my son's in-laws that were saved out of the Ukraine. And they are true refugees. I have told the story, but she left without anything except her cat in a suitcase. And that cat, and their home is gone, everything is gone that they knew. But, and her husband, who's named Andre, and you know I can't pronounce, I'm going to tell you her name next time, because it's hard to say. But they're both delightful. And he had gone off to fight off in the military. He had a military career, apparently, and he turned 60 and was able to get to Germany and come over with her. But anyway, she lost her cat in Poland. I saw a picture of him sitting in a suitcase, elegant, but hopefully he has a home. But anyway, I met them, and they have been staying with my son on top of his hill he lives on way out in the middle of nowhere, and they had not been out. And I was able to take them out, and I took them to the beach, and I took them shoe shopping too, but that was okay. But when they went, I watched particularly Andre stand by the ocean and breathe, and he just stood there for the longest time, and I could feel him taking it in, just taking in the beauty of the ocean, and it was like a sacred thing. And I could just feel how it was so important to his life to have that moment. And I just wanted to share that, because that's a lot about how we get along and what makes it okay to keep alive sometimes. And so that was a real joy for me, a simple joy that was so big it doesn't even have, boundaries. So I share that. So with that, let's take a moment for a little, whatever you do, prayer or meditation together. Let's sit, feel yourself quieting, settle into your seat for a moment and feel your body. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. And as you let it out, feel yourself calming, relaxing. Breathe in again. Breathe out slowly with intention. Grateful for our breath. Grateful that we are present with each other today. As we celebrate our joys and we hold in our hearts our sorrows, many I know that were not spoken, let us send compassion to each other. Let us widen our compassion to those people and beings who are in our daily lives. Some of them who we may not normally want to give compassion. Let us take a moment to consciously send compassion and love. And let us widen our circle even further to all beings on the earth. human and non-living, who need so much love and compassion and care. Let us feel in our life our ability to give that. Let us know that in the way we live, we can consciously give compassion and joy even with our smallest acts. And know that our real purpose is simple. It's in our act of living. And it is expressed in every breath we take. And blessed be. And the choir.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out on this rainy day. It's so good to see you. I have a reading. My name is Ellen Livingston. I think everybody knows. I don't have to introduce myself. This is a poem from Anne Sexton. Can you hear me all right? Are we all right? She says, "Welcome morning. There is joy in all. In the hair I brush each morning, in the cannon towel, newly washed, that I rub my body with each morning, in the chapel of eggs I cook each morning, in the outcry from the kettle that heats my coffee each morning, in the Godhead of the table that I set my silver plate cup upon each morning. All this is God, right here in my pea green house, each morning. And I mean, though I often forget, to give thanks, to faint down by the kitchen table in a prayer of rejoicing, as the holy birds at the kitchen window peck into their marriage of seeds. So while I think of it, let me paint a thank you on my palm for this God, this laughter of the morning, lest it go unspoken. The joy that isn't shared, I hear, dies young." Well, now look in our hymn books, or up there, to "Every Night and Every Morn," words by William Blake. Can we see? Or in your hymn book, number 17. I made so bold as to name this sermon, The Secret of Life. People climb mountains to find their guru, to find that out. By now, it is no secret that what I want to speak of today is the value of joy. Now, you may ask, how can I speak of a feeling like joy at a time when so many of us are feeling anything but joyful? Who are we to be happy? So many of us, with good reason, are more concerned with what is happening in our own lives and communities, extending outward to the world. Despair, you may name it. Leave it to the Christian kids to sing that song. I have joy, joy, joy down deep in my heart, down in my heart to stay. Because so many of us do not have that simple, naive reassurance. And yet I ask you, given the state of the world, our personal lives, the political situation in our nation, how can we not speak of joy? Joy may be what saves us. I found joy at the car wash. I was wearing my I voted sticker when the attendant at the check-in place noticed it, and he shared with me the joy and necessity of voting. Mexican-American, turns out he has been a poll worker for years, and so proud and happy for the privilege. And we sort of snuck in our conversation about our people. I want to tell you why this elusive quality is our salvation as human beings. My guiding words of wisdom for today come from the French philosopher André Gide. Know that joy is rarer, more difficult, and more beautiful than sadness. Once you make this all-important discovery, you must embrace joy as a moral obligation. We must embrace joy as our moral obligation. Can you resonate with this statement? First, my definition. Joy is not happiness, although it can include that. Joy is not humor or fun or gladness or delight, although it does often include those. Joy is something more profound. It comes as a result of deeper feelings and experiences. It is part of our birthright as human beings from the time we were joyful babies. It is spacious, surprising, grateful. It relates to other living things, to the animals. Joy connects us with our depth within, our ultimate concerns, like my remembered joy of democracy at the car wash. In my dealings with people and groups and counseling, I'm aware that most people have probably known just as many moments of happiness as of sorrow. But we humans are a kvetching people. We find a lot to complain about. We are more likely to talk about our problems than our shared moments of memories of joy. Somebody told me recently when I talked about this subject, sometimes joy takes courage. Ponder on that. By dwelling more on the bitter, we overlook the sweet. And then there is the bittersweet. What I am proposing is that we learn how to give joy more attention, remembering well the good times. There is another result to all this. When grief or anger or sadness seem to take over, we need not give up. Let's just trust that right around the corner, there is a balance of happiness and pleasure and even joy. I have also noticed that joy is actually more complicated than sadness. I feel hesitant to talk about that with you because I know you are wondering whether you will think I am a cockeyed optimist. On the contrary, although existence is a joyful thing, I know too well it also has its tragic overlays. Life is a mixture of joy and sorrow. As our hymn, the words written by the poet William Blake tells us just now, joy and woe are woven fine. You and I may have known persons who are truly what we might call the grave merry people, the grave and merry folk. They are persons of laughter and tears who see the gentle irony in existence. We in this congregation are, I think, grave, merry types. We know loss, tragic losses. But still, we can smile like the Buddha here, because we know, as we all suffer, we also learn that there are things to live through suffering. The Dalai Lama tells us the main purpose of life is to be happy. Imagine, beyond all the heavy volumes of theology, philosophy, ethical discourse, it just comes down to this. If everyone were happy, we would not have wars. We would not hurt each other. We would be grateful for what we have and enjoy. First of all, to understand joy, one must be willing to understand the contradictions. Here is where our Unitarian Universalists shine. The author E.B. White helps us to understand this paradox. There are two ways to navigate through this world, he says. One is to improve life, and the other is to enjoy life, to save or savor the world. I humbly submit we can do both, because both enjoyment and progress are necessary. I have noticed so many times how often in our pursuit of progress and success and saving the world, enjoyment is forgotten. The path to true joy so often is through our sorrows and our frustrations. Only then can we come to receive the wholeness of life into our hearts. Only then can we have a deep and genuine joy arising. The poet Khalil Gibran helps us with this example. I often read this at memorial services. Your joy is your sorrow unmasked. And the self-same well with which your laughter rises was often filled with tears. And how else can it be? Is not the very cup that holds your wine the very cup that was burned in the potter's oven? To experience joy means to experience the freedom of flexibility. One of my Buddhist mentors speaks of himself as resting like a tree, bearing fruit, giving room for birds to nest, for moving in the wind. The Buddhist principle teaches us that flexibility is joyful and restful. Spiritual maturity is that of embracing opposites, a capacity to hold two or more contradictions of life in our hearts, to move in the wind like bamboo. Too often we hide our sense of joy because we don't want to appear sentimental or lacking in experience or unsophisticated. We may not want to share our brief moments of awe and gratitude. But I will right now. I want to tell you how great it is to be merely awake this morning and to be able to get out of bed, to move through my home, and remember that if it's Sunday, it must be church. That's where our sad, merry self comes in. How little time we spend basking in the miracles that are given each day. It's in Anne Sexton's poem. Like the sound of birds, the taste of toast, the color of our loved ones' eyes above the masks. Instead, I have to confess, if you're like me, we open the newspaper, eager to learn what the latest setback of certain people in the leadership of our nation would have just made, and wondering how stupid and evil can they be. Have you heard the German word? I love this word. Schadenfreude. Yeah. Yay. Schadenfreude. Pain and joy. It means taking delight in other people's mistakes and their unhappiness. Would we do that? Although I have to confess, I took some schadenfreude in seeing the picture of certain fraudulent politicians being led away to jail in handcuffs. Confess. It's against the Buddhist principle to take delight in other people's misery. But sometimes justice is so sweet. In Buddhist philosophy, which I usually try to follow, instead of taking joy in other setbacks, we are to cultivate compassion for other people's suffering. Not only that, but also our innate quality of mudita, joy, a boundless capacity to savor life's blessings, regardless of whether they are showered on us or other people. The Dalai Lama, who radiates joy despite the horrors he's been through, explains the benefit of cultivating mudita. It's only logical. If I am only happy for myself, there will be fewer chances for happiness. If I am happy when good things happen to other people, billions more chances to be happy. On the other hand, I have felt the greatest joy sometimes when I respond to an act of conscience to my anger at what human beings have and are doing to this earth. I am reminded of what the character Antigone in the Greek play said. She exclaims, "What pain people go to bring each other to pain." I can still remember the joy I felt down deep in my heart when I joined with other people in vigils and marches in protest of the war in Vietnam. Peace marches with other people with whom I connected in such a deep and empathic way because we knew we were on the side of life. We were on the side of life. As we moved on together, we often sang a most joyful song. Jeremiah was a bulldog. Remember that? Those of you who were in marches. It was a moment of pure joy, not happiness, because we were so sad and angry about the ongoing war. It was a kind of joy that comes when you are doing exactly the right thing. You may be in the minority of current opinion, but you are in the majority of the righteous. I am the most law-abiding of citizens. But there comes a time when civil disobedience is appropriate, if one is to witness on the side of justice and peace. A similar feeling of that joy, joy, joy down deep in my heart came when I was arrested on the desert outside of Las Vegas at the site of the nuclear underground testing. I was not alone. UUs from all over the country gathered to protest this insanity. Our goal was to step on the land of the testings, which, by the way, were the land of Native Americans. But it was designated government property in outright disobedience to the federal law, where we were promptly read our rights and handcuffed. I was. At that moment, my friends, I felt a welling up of joy. The joy that comes when you know you are taking a risk, but you are doing the right thing. I had the support of the congregation back home at that time here. I knew that it was absolutely the correct thing. We were put on a bus to be taken off to be booked, and we sang our UU songs of religious joy all the way to the police station. We were witnesses along with thousands of others on this side of life. What a privilege. I know not everyone can have such a privilege as I had, and we did. But we have many opportunities here to participate in this spectrum of other kinds of joys, mingled with tears of frustration and even tragedies. I am sad that our days of such protests are far from over. For example, it gives me some sort of joy to know that the women of Iran are shedding their hair coverings or even cutting in their hair, with anger mixed with joy, I would guess. Joy takes courage sometimes. And who am I to feel joy? Is it crazy for me? With the health issues senior people are so likely to have, the ongoing loss of a dearest friend, the political crimes that press on everyone who cares about this beloved country? Yes and no. Joy and woe are woven fine. And what good is it to go into these precious so-called sunset years and not to feel moments of delight? I know personally that the most profound funerals and memorial services have both tears and laughter. I ran into a Catholic friend a few days after my husband Nick's funeral. She said, "Ellen, that was the most fun funeral I've ever been to." That was Nick. My Buddhist vow is to relieve suffering in whatever way I can, but that is not enough. We cannot stop there. We can entertain two possibilities at the same time. Often in my experience, I have noticed that those less privileged groups who may have suffered the most seem to have the most fun. They celebrate their communal lives wherever they can. Here is a most compelling example that stays in my consciousness from the often sad, even depressing film about the lives of poverty-stricken Greeks. Zorba the Greek. The two leading characters are known as the boss, an uptight, solemn British businessman, and Zorba, the Greek native, who knows that life is too serious to be taken seriously. They meet and agree to go into business together on that Greek island, exporting timber from the mountains around, and then down the hill to a ship. They pour their time and money into the project, but everything just seems to go wrong. At the end of the film, the structure that they have built to transport the logs to the ocean dock, they dock there, falls down, board after board after board. Disaster, dashing their dreams of a successful co-venture. So what do? They stand on the beach, witnessing the ending of their dreams. Then Zorba grabs the boss's hand, we hear Greek music in the background, and they dance. They dance! What else can they do? The beach and the water and the sunshine and music are still there. And they are still alive. And from another culture, more recently, I am reminded of the Dia de los Muertos. It offers rich and complex examples from Hispanic traditions that death can be a picnic. Just think of the mixture of humor and memory and gratitude for our dead loved ones that are expressed in the Dia de los Muertos altars we have put together by loving and creative hands to honor those of blessed memory. We have been building here deeply personal and aesthetically unique altars, arranged with pictures and candles and marigolds, personal reminders of our late friends and families. We've been doing that for decades here. Starting with the idea and encouragement of our Oaxacan friend, Tony. Back in the early 80s, most Anglos, including us, had never heard of the custom. We do now. Here. And then there is always the joyous hope expressed in gospel choirs and spirituals, ultimate joy in the astounding harmony choirs joined together in solidarity and faith as only the people who have known profound suffering can do. Another insight I've had recently comes from country music. One of my heroes is the late and lamented coal miner's daughter, Loretta Lynn. Her creative process draws on her background of sorrow and despair and misogyny and betrayal. She turns it all into music that touches the hearts of even us non-honky-tonk folk. Her music brings empathic joy to so many. I, for one, find a happy connection to her fighting spirit. You ain't woman enough to take my man. Along with her promoting reproductive justice, with her outspoken comments. I find joy in that. So the Buddhists tell us that life is about suffering, and yet they remind us there are solutions to this suffering. The laughing Buddha on our pulpit table is a perfect model for this. Oh, well, he says, life is tough, but what the hell? Let it go. Don't be attached to your sorrows. Instead, enjoy. Anais Nin reminds us, joy appears now in little things. The big themes remain tragic. But a leaf fluttered in through the window this morning as if supported by the rays of the sun. A bird settled on the fire escape. Joy in the taste of coffee. Joy accompanied me as I walked to the press. There is immense joy that arises in a community when together we give up ourselves. The act of singing together, the joyously profound songs and hymns, as we are doing this morning, and coming together we have here to work for the greater good. The Buddhists call it a sangha. It describes people who gather together in the name of that which is holy. Our sangha here, our community, is created not only when we gather in the name of the liberal religion, but when we come together bringing our truth and our compassion and shared. We are joy-filled faith, or we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't find time among so many demands in modern life to support our faith. There is profound, grace-filled joy in being with the friends, old and new, like my friend I may never see again at the car wash. Then joy is a surprise mysteriously revealed to us. And as the poet this morning reminds us, the joy that isn't shared dies young. The most profound joy has both gaiety and gravity. We are both merry and sad people, holy and foolish. Joy comes as a moral duty. To share joy is to double it. The higher your candle burns, the more light my candle will give off. The 13th century poet has a reminder for us and for people like me. He says, "Today is like every day. We wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study and begin reading. Take down your musical instrument. Let the beauty we love be in what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and touch the ground. Let us be models of joy to each other." So be it. And now let's enter into the sweet land of silence. Spirit of life, may we be mindful of all that brings joy to our lives. The songs and silences, the senses and simple pleasure. May we have open hearts to receive, hands to give, minds to create, spirits to connect with each other, and the ultimate. Amen. Shalom. So be it. And now we are going to sing with the choir, Jubilate Deo. Number 393 if you want to watch the nose.
So now we come to the time when we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we're together again. And then Ellen will give us a benediction.
Benediction?
Yes,
Oh,
you have to do the benediction.
I have to do the benediction.
You said you were going to.
Just go in peace and joy and courage and bring it back with you. Grace-filled, wonderful congregation. Take our word up to the world that it so desperately needs it now. Blessed
Thank
be.
you. Well, I would just like to give a special thanks to our, to Bob and to Don and to Steve and to Jarius and everybody who's worked for hours and hours and hours on our AV Tech project. Just an aside. So have a wonderful week.